Okay, so today we're going deep
This
on something truly
mysterious
wild.
underwater
This
pyramid
underwater
is
structure
reshaping the history.
off the coast of Taiwan.
Yeah, near Japan's Ryukyu Islands.
Right, the Ryukyu Islands.
Specifically an island called Yonaguni.
Yonaguni.
Yonaguni? Okay, so this isn't just like some coral reef or something, right?
No, not at all. This is a submerged stone formation, and it was discovered back in 1986.
1986.
So what
Okay,
do
so
you
this
think?
is like proper archeology, potentially.
Potentially, and it's
naturally
only
formed
like
or a
82 feet
man-made
underwater,
design?
so relatively
Commented.
shallow, which is pretty accessible.
So people have actually been able to get down there and take a good look at it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of investigation has been done, but it's still a huge debate what it actually is.
Well, from what these sources are saying, it's pretty mind-blowing. Like we're talking sharp-angled steps.
Distinct terraces.
Terraces, yeah. And even what look like carvings in the stone.
Some researchers believe they're definitely intentional carvings.
Okay, so not just like erosion or something?
No, it's a pretty big structure, too, about 90 feet tall and all made of stone.
Okay, wait, so 90 feet tall underwater.
Yep, sitting there on the seabed.
This is like a lost city kind of thing.
Well, it's definitely giving off those vibes. And here's where it gets even crazier, the age of this stone.
How old are we
It's
talking?
12,000 years.
Over 10,000 years old.
10,000 years. That's like way before the pyramids, right?
Way before the pyramids, way before Stonehenge, too.
Okay, so if this thing really is a structure built by humans,
That throws a
Commented.
major wrench into our understanding of history.
yeah, because, I mean, conventional archaeology says that large-scale construction
Like complex civilizations building big stuff.
exactly didn't really start until about 12,000 years ago, right around when agriculture started to develop.
Right, with settled societies and all that.
So if this Yonaguni monument is artificial,
It would mean people were organized and engineering things thousands of years earlier than we thought.
okay, so that's huge. That's like rewriting the history books.
It could be.
So I guess that's our mission today, to figure out what the deal is with this underwater mystery.
Exactly. We got to look at the evidence, weigh the different theories, see if this thing's the real deal or not.
Right. And I know some people are totally convinced this has got to be man-made.
Yeah, there are some strong arguments on that side. Like, in those sources you sent, there was this discussion between Graham Hancock
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
and Flint Dibble on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh, yeah, the Joe Rogan Experience, yeah.
So Hancock is known for his work on lost civilizations, right? And he made a pretty compelling case just based on photos.
So just by looking at it, he's like, this has got to be made by humans.
Right, he's pointing out those arches, the precise terraces, and that rock face that looks
What
carved.
do you think? It's
And he's
made
saying
by
there's
humans?
no way that happened naturally.
Yeah, he's saying those aren't just random geological accidents. There's clear intention there, like someone designed this.
Okay, I can kind of see that. I mean, if you have a straight line in nature, it's usually because something made it straight, right?
That's his argument, that there's this regularity, these sharp angles that you wouldn't typically see in natural formations.
And those terraces, too, they're just too perfect to be a coincidence.
Right, like someone was following a blueprint.
So I guess that's the romantic side of this, right? The idea of this lost civilization swallowed by the sea.
It's definitely a captivating idea, and, the sources even mention Atlantis.
Oh, wow, yeah, like a real-life Atlantis.
It definitely sparks the imagination, right? This advanced civilization wiped out, leaving behind these mysterious ruins.
Like something out of a movie.
Totally. But now we got to shift gears and look at the other side of the argument.
The skeptics.
The skeptics, the people who say, hold on, this could all be natural.
I mean, I guess that's possible, right? And nature can make some pretty crazy stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And these sources highlight a key skeptic, Dr. Robert Shuck from Boston University.
Okay, so what's his take on it?
He's coming at this from a geological perspective. He says the features we see could be totally explained by natural processes.
Okay, so how does he explain those sharp angles and terraces?
Well, he points out that this whole region is incredibly seismically active.
Lots of earthquakes.
Tons of earthquakes, yeah. And he says over time, those earthquakes, those shifting tectonic plates, they can cause fractures in the rock.
And create flat surfaces.
Exactly. And those breaks, those fault lines could create the sharp angles that some people see as evidence of cutting or shaping.
Okay, I see. So maybe those perfectly straight lines aren't so perfect after all.
Right. And then there's the whole carving thing, remember?
Oh, yeah, the carvings.
Yeah.
So what's his explanation for that?
Well, he says we got to think about marine life, for thousands of years.
Barnacles and seaweed and stuff?
Exactly. All those organisms can accumulate on the rock, especially in those natural fractures, and that can make the surface look more uniform.
Like it was smoothed out intentionally.
Exactly. So it could be tricking our eyes.
Okay, so basically saying don't jump to conclusions about ancient civilizations until we've ruled out all the natural explanations.
Right. The skeptics are saying assume it's natural until you have undeniable proof that humans were involved.
So I guess that brings us to the big question, the timeline.
The timeline, yeah, if this structure really is over 10,000 years old, that throws a major wrench into things.
Because it means complex societies might have existed way before we thought possible.
Exactly. It challenges our whole understanding of how civilization developed.
And it's not just Yonaguni, right? These sources mention other sites that are messing with the timeline too.
Oh, yeah. There are a few other sites that are really making archaeologists rethink things.
Like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey.
Göbekli Tepe. Yeah, that one's a big one. It dates back to about 9,500 BC.
9,500 BC? That's even older than Yonaguni?
It is, and it's considered the oldest known temple complex in the world.
So even older than the pyramids and Stonehenge.
Way older. It suggests that hunter-gatherers back then were capable of way more than we thought.
Like complex religious practices and large-scale construction.
Exactly. It was a huge discovery.
Yeah, and then there's Gunung Padang in Indonesia.
Gunung Padang, now that one is really pushing the boundaries.
How old is that one?
Some researchers think it could be over 16,000 years old.
16,000 years? That's like mind-boggling.
It is, and they think it could be the oldest pyramid structure in the world.
Wow. Okay, so if you put all these sites together,
Yonaguni, Göbekli Tepe, Gunung Padang,
it starts to paint a very different picture of early civilization.
Right. It suggests that maybe the development of advanced societies wasn't so straightforward.
Like it wasn't just tied to agriculture.
Exactly. There might have been these periods of complex development even before people started farming.
So maybe we've got the timeline all wrong.
Maybe we do.
I mean, it's crazy to think about.
It is. It really makes you wonder what else is out there waiting to be discovered.
Okay, so another big piece of this puzzle is sea level rise, right?
Right. The sources mention Dr. Masaki Kimura's theory.
So he was one of the researchers who dated the Yonaguni monument.
Yes, and he believes that it was originally built above sea level.
Which makes sense because we know the sea level was much lower back then.
Exactly. At the end of the last ice age, when all those glaciers melted, the sea level rose dramatically.
So if Yonaguni was built when the area was dry land,
let's say more than 10,000 years ago,
and then got submerged as the sea level rose,
that would explain why it's underwater today.
Right. It connects the timeline of potential construction with the geological history.
Exactly. It all fits together.
So where does all this leave us? Is there a definitive answer about Yonaguni?
Well, unfortunately not. The sources make it clear that it's still a big debate in the scientific community.
Some people say it's man-made, some say it's natural.
Right. And the question is, what would it take to prove it one way or the other?
Like what kind of evidence would be convincing enough?
Yeah, that's the core of the debate right now. Those visual features are compelling to a lot of people.
The straight lines, the terraces.
Exactly. But geologists, they want more concrete evidence.
Like what?
Like clear tool mark signs that materials were transported there from somewhere else.
Like if they found stones that didn't naturally occur in that area.
Right, or just undeniable evidence of intentional design that couldn't be explained by natural processes.
So I guess until they find something like that, it's going to remain a mystery.
It probably will, but here's the thing. Whether it's natural or man-made, it's still incredibly significant.
Okay,
Well, if it's natural, it's an amazing example of nature's power to create these mind-blowing formations.
Like a natural wonder.
Exactly. And if it's man-made,
I think it's man-made.
We need to seriously
What do you
rethink our understanding of ancient civilizations.
And either way, it shows us how much we still don't know about our planet's history.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that there are still so many mysteries out there.
And that we shouldn't be afraid to challenge the accepted narrative.
Right. We need to keep exploring, keep questioning, and be open to new possibilities.
I love that.
It's exciting.
It is. Okay, so to wrap things up today, we've been talking about the Yonaguni Monument, this incredible underwater structure off the coast of Taiwan.
We've looked at both sides of the argument, the evidence that suggests it's man-made, and the counter-arguments from geologists who believe it's a natural formation.
We talked about the sharp angles, the terraces, the possible carvings, and how those features could have formed naturally through earthquakes and marine life.
We also discussed the mind-blowing implications for our understanding of ancient history if it turns out to be man-made.
It would mean that complex societies existed thousands of years earlier than we currently believe.
And we connected it to other sites like Göbekli Tepe and Gunung Padang, which are also challenging the traditional timeline of civilization.
And we can't forget about the role of sea level rise.
Right. That might explain how this structure ended up underwater in the first place.
So ultimately, the origins of the Yonaguni monument are still unknown.
It's a mystery.
It's an ongoing mystery, but it's a mystery that forces us to confront the vastness of what we don't know.
It makes us realize that our understanding of history is constantly evolving.
And that there's still so much left to discover.
And that's what makes this so fascinating.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
And it leaves me wondering about all the other secrets hidden beneath the waves.
I
That's a
know,
question
right?
for you.
It's a pretty big ocean out
Comment
there.
it.
And if we found something like this in relatively shallow water,
What else could be out there in the deeper parts of the ocean?
lost cities, ancient structures, things we can't even imagine.
It's a mind-blowing thought, right?
It is, and it makes you realize just how much we still have to learn about our planet and our past.
It's a journey of discovery that never really ends.
That's a perfect way to put it.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and who knows what you might find.
That's true.
Well said, my friend. Well said.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me on the deep dive today.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.